Worship. It's a word we use a lot in the church. Sometimes we use it outside the church, but what is it? When we talk about worship in the church, we often have an idea in our heads of what it looks like. Sometimes we get a picture of a space, or we get a picture of an instrument, or we imagine things from our childhood, or what things were, what our own experiences were. And so we wonder, how do we worship? We wonder who worship is for. And yet, any conversation about worship, we always have to ask, who are we worshiping? And that question of who is worship for is an important one that we come to. And ultimately, when we ask those questions and we talk about worshiping the one who created us, the God of the universe, we're going to come to the fact that worship involves reverence. It involves us coming quietly and solemnly before the God who saved us, who created us, who put us together, but it also requires sacrifice. It requires something of us that we might not always be comfortable giving. We might not always be comfortable laying down. We're getting ready to start a series at Restoration diving into this subject of worship. And we're going to unpack this a little bit. What is worship? How do we worship? What does it look like? Who is it for? But then talking about what does it mean to be reverent when we worship? And ultimately leading us to Easter, where we see the greatest act of worship that we could ever know in what Jesus did for us. In fact, Jesus said in John 15 that no greater love has a man than this, that he lay down his life for his friend. And as we go through worship and we look at this in our series together, we finally come to Easter, where we see that ultimate act of worship, Jesus laying down his life, the ultimate act of sacrifice. And so worship needs to lead us wherever we start. Whatever the starting point is for worship, we always need to end at the foot of the cross. We always need to come to that place where we understand that worship is about sacrifice. And the greatest example, the greatest model, the greatest gift that we could ever receive, we see in what Jesus did at Easter when he laid down his life for his friends.